I'm standing by my Golden Russet tree right now. The Golden Russet tree is it's one of those what they call a one-cider apple. It's both sweet and a little bit acidic, so it makes a great cider just by itself. This tree, let me give a shot of the limb of it. A Golden Russet is a tip bearer, so you will get most of the fruit bearing at the tip, and there won't be a whole lot more. Here's a good branch here. Some spurs. It does get spurs when it gets more mature, but it is a very open tree, and you have to prune it very sparingly, because if you prune off all these little branches, you'll find out that you won't get many leaves at all in the tree, and you won't get any fruit until it gets older. So when it gets older, it does get some spurs. Not too many of them though. It's a tip bearer. So, and it's a very vigorous grower. Here's something to be careful with when you tag a tree. I noticed it's starting to grow in right there, and it has grown in a little bit into the tree right here. This is a metal tag, a thin wire. Now this wire is small enough it'll rust off, but I don't want that to get stuck into the bark and cause a place where it would weaken. So I'm going to pull it up the limb a little bit, like that. I tag all my trees. I remember what they are now, but there was a time when it was. Golden Russet, as I've said, is a very vigorous grower, and it tends to, if you don't prune it for shape when it's young, it can really get ahead of you. So let me show you the trunk here. Notice the tree is leaning to the left, and right in here is where the first branch came off, and I left that grow for too long, and it was a good third as big as the trunk itself. You can see that was taken off last year. You can see how big it is in relation to the total trunk size, and it just kept growing and growing. I would try to prune it back, prune the limbs back, and try to weaken that limb, and it just kept growing and growing. So I finally had to take it off because the weight of that limb was actually tipping the tree with the weight of it. So I took that limb off, and I also took off this one now up here this year to give the tree a little bit more balance. The shape of it. Now it's leaning to the right, so that's all in all, it looks balanced. And by balance, when I say balance the tree, I mean literally that, as much growth on every side of the trunk so that it doesn't get blown over so easy in the wind. Notice most of the limbs, this limb right here, last year this limb was vertical. I could not prune it, it was so tall, and it bent over under the load of apples. And now this limb back here, this limb here is still vertical. See if I can get a shot of that without getting into the sun. Still vertical, and when it gets apples in a year or two, it will bend over. There's no use trying to change the shape of it now. The load of the apples will do that for me, as I found out.